So, in today's rapidly evolving landscape, artificial intelligence is transforming the way we work, learn, and grow. Lean into lifelong learning and unlock their full potential. Together, we can navigate this journey. All right, so I asked AI to write that. It's total garbage, and I saw you guys like, what the? What's going on here? It's too early for this, Myra. I didn't get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, get here to like have you preach about like AI slop. But here's the thing, and I want you to be completely honest with me. I want you to raise your hand if that paragraph lives in an e-learning or a presentation somewhere that you created. Honest, honest. I'm not judging. I am not judging you. Okay. Here's the thing. Let's see if my slides will. AI is optimized for it's optimized for output. It's optimized to sound good. It is not optimized to be creative or understand exactly how we talk or for truth, right? It makes stuff up. It hallucinates. And the problem is that for those who are using AI to generate courses and content, it passes the bar. That is why that phrase lives in an e-learning somewhere, right? Whether it's yours and you admitted it or not, I'm not judging, right? And the problem is that you have people now who can create training who are not instructional designers or learning professionals. They can create it on the fly, right? 20 minutes. They have some kind of e-learning that they think is absolute. Like they're like, dude, look what I created in like 20 minutes. This is awesome. We don't need our training department. We can do this ourselves. Like we should just let go of like 40% of them because I could do what they do, right? So I'm going to tell you something that you might not want to hear. So AI didn't lower the bar, right? People in your organization figured out that the bar was already low enough for them to cross over when it came to the type of training that's being created. So I want you to sit with that because you have an opportunity today to hear from a bunch of speakers who are going to help you gain some new knowledge, maybe some tips that you didn't have before, some tricks that you can use. But before I go into my session, I want to acknowledge two main groups that just in speaking to Hadia, I knew would be here today. And you don't have to self-identify, but we I have had the rug pulled from under my feet many times. It is not pleasant. But what you do in that time is what determines where you go moving forward, right? So I know right now the times are really hard. You're applying for jobs and not getting any response back, or you may be looking for another job. It is not, the market just isn't there. And you may be finding that the jobs that you're applying for are requiring skills that weren't required 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, even 4 years ago, right? So they're requiring these skills that even someone with an entry level trying to get into an entry-level career can't even meet. So I just want to acknowledge that. And so to both of these groups, right, I want to tell you that you are investing in yourself today, and that is one of the most important things you can do. And so I really hope that you take full advantage of today, because this is one of the lower, I want to say lower end, but this is the most economic conference that you can go to, right? How many of you have been to ATD International? That crap's expensive, right? Let's just, right? And you're exhausted by the end of the week. You don't even know if you're coming or going. You're like, I want to go home to my bed, right? Today you have the opportunity to really soak in and network. So I want to ask you a question. How many of you are comfortable using AI? Raise your hand. All right. So there's a study done by Training Magazine with Dr. Philippa Hardman. Are you guys familiar with her? She's a learning scientist. And so they did a survey, and they found that 87% of people that they surveyed said yes, and only 6% admitted to any discomfort. So I went digging. I was like, that sounds interesting. Do you guys believe that stat? 87%, 6? I don't either. I think they're full of it, right? I spend a lot of time reading data, and I read a lot of scientific reports, and I'm always questioning the data. I questioned this data wholeheartedly. So what they did is they interviewed, I think it was 451 people that were already in organizations that were AI forward. And that's where the 87% comes from. So you're serving an organization that's already AI forward, future thinking, already embedded in it, but only 87% feel comfortable, right? So that tells us something. So the people who are supposedly most comfortable with it aren't really all that comfortable. And I'm going to tell you something else. So because I like to dig into stuff like this, I'm going to ask you here, who do you think is more scared of AI? Shout it out. Is it going to be, I'm sorry? Okay, I heard it. What was it? Old people? Okay. In the work, older people? Who else? Boomers? Who? Early career? Okay. New college graduates? Anyone else? Corporate executive. Okay. So this next survey was done by a company called G-Shock. They're a platform. I'm not really familiar with their platform, but I found it interesting because what they did is they interviewed 15,000 workers. That's a better sample. And what they found, let's see, right here, that Gen Z admits to, 80% of Gen Z admits to being scared of AI, even though they're the most embedded in it. They're the heaviest users of it. Whereas the broader workforce, 63%, right, of the broader workforce exaggerates their skill in AI. Meaning that for those of you who raised your hand and said you're super comfortable with AI, I'm calling BS. All right, I'm going to call BS on that. Because what we do is that we tend to elevate our comfort level and our skill level because we don't want to become obsolete, right? Admitting to not being comfortable with something, or admitting that you're afraid of something, or admitting that you have huge concerns could result potentially in, being laid off or getting replaced, or what are the number of things that we're told, right? So it is what I call the great illusion. So we surround ourselves by manufactured confidence. Now, I've been in the AI space for 15 years. I managed teams of data scientists. I have built AI algorithms. I have trained machine learning models. And there's a huge difference between training a machine learning model, which I have complete control over, and working with a large language model that is a text predictor, right? It's predicting the next word in a sequence, or it's the next pixel or the next sound wave. I have no control over here. And to me, that's scary. And my confidence level in it, I'm so. But I'm going to tell you that there are people that are afraid that the AI is going to take over, right? And so one of the things that I want to do before I continue is I want you to turn to your neighbor, anyone. It can be behind, in front, if you want to get up and talk to someone. I'm going to give you 90 seconds, and I want you to turn to your neighbor and share what was the last thing you created with AI. It could be anything. So 90 seconds. All right. Hands up if you can hear me. Hands up if you can hear me. This is my favorite teaching trick. I work with a bunch of 10-year-olds. I train them how to program. And this is my favorite thing to do with them. It's like, hands up if you can hear me. And they just all, come to, it still works. We're adults. It still works, man. All right. So I want you to take note of what you heard from your peer that you were speaking to, right? You might have heard that they maybe were creating something that was really cool, or maybe they had some concerns, or maybe what they were sharing was like, I used it, got me like 75% of the way there, right? How many of you in the content that what you shared, how many of you shared that your content was fantastic, like shipped it? Hands up. Okay. So a few in the back. Those are rare cases, right? So the one thing with AI is that, again, traditional AI is analytical, right? I know the outputs it's going to give me based on the algorithms that I use and based on the models that I trained. And I can retrain that model. I can blow it up. I can do whatever I want. With large language models, it's creative. Generative AI is creative. And so you never know what you're going to, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, right? So that is why some of you have shipped things completely, right? And some of you, and the majority of you have not. So let's move on to our next thing. How many of you have read this before? How many of you have said this before? Someone using AI will replace you. How many of you have heard that? Or AI is going to replace us, right? AI is going to replace us. So what this does, this statement right here, is it is a contention builder, okay? Because what it does is it's telling you that the person sitting next to you, the person who is doing the same work you're doing, right, is a competitor now. And now you are trying to compete in imaginary competition with someone else. Because guess what? They're thinking the same thing about you, right? So it's a vicious cycle. This really creates separation instead of collaboration. And I'm not for it. This is not a statement that I want to hear anyone saying. So when you leave this room, this is supposed to be eradicated from your thoughts completely. I'm going to do magic, okay? Because AI is not replacing you, and someone using AI isn't replacing you. How many of you raised your hands when you were asked by Hadia how many of you are using AI? Like everyone's hand went up, right? Everyone's using it. So who are we competing against? Right? So the point isn't that someone using AI is going to replace you or that AI is going to replace you. I'm going to tell you the truth is that everyone is at the same place. Everyone's still trying to figure it out. Generative AI is 4 years old. It is not going to replace anyone. How many of you are scared of artificial general intelligence, like the Terminator stuff? Okay, I'm going to dispel this for you again. How many of you are familiar with the US power grid? It is an aging power grid. AI requires a ton of energy and a ton of water, so electricity and water, because they are a bunch of servers and a data center. The US does not have sufficient water and energy to be able to sustain artificial general intelligence. You may have read that OpenAI achieved AGI. They achieved it in a closed system, in a test environment. It does not scale. So it's not going to it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in our lifetime because the US power grid, if you have to have rolling blackouts in New York in the summer because everyone's running their air conditioner, there's no way we can support AGI, okay? All right, but this is the truth. This is another survey by World Economic Forum, and I swear this is like the last data point I'm going to give you. Then we're going to get to the really good stuff. So the World Economic Forum did a survey. They surveyed, I think it was 28 countries, I forget how many organizations, and what they found is that 41% of organizations are cutting headcount, but they're not cutting it due to AI. They're cutting it because our economy is in the dumpster, okay? And 77% of organizations are actively reskilling employees on AI. And that right there is a call to action for you. Because the people that do the reskilling are the people in this room, right? You are the people who reskill and upskill other people. You are the people who create the training. You are the people who create the assets that are used to reskill and upskill people. So you are in more demand today than ever. And I want you to stick with that because this is a huge opportunity for you. Okay, so I'm going to go into, let's see. I'm going to give you some gifts now. Who's ready for some gifts? Okay. So I'm going to give you, I want you to leave this session with 3 things from me. I'm going to give you a framework to find AI use cases in your own workflow. I'm going to give you a way to operationalize AI for yourself. And I'm going to give you a 30, 60, 90-day action plan that I want you to carry throughout the day. Okay? Checking my time. We've still got time. I'm good on time, right, Hadia? Okay. So let's start. This clicker does not like me. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to introduce you to the Ask framework. If you've attended any of my sessions or online or in person, you may have heard me talk about the Ask framework. This is a framework that I created with Dr. Nicole Papiano 3 years ago. We were working with a client, and one of the problems that I identified in doing discovery was that they were saying they had a training problem and that they had a reskilling problem and they had a technology problem. And what they really had was a business problem. They didn't have any of those other problems. It was really a business problem. And we came up, I was like, we need a way to give them an easy framework so they can start to find AI use cases in their workflow. And so I went back to my programming days of training AI models. And so you have to define the problem first, right? How many of you start with the problem? You start with why. Okay, love seeing that. So the ASK framework is 3 simple steps. So what you're going to do is it starts with a task analysis for yourself. And what you're going to do is you can do it right now if you want. Open up a note app or open up on a piece of paper. Write down like 5 things that you do in your day, 5 tasks that you do every day, right, at work. For me, it's things like read email, write proposals, review documents that are sent to me. I have like write contracts. I also like create training, specialized training for like different organizations. And so that would be my task list. Once you have your task list of all of those high level tasks, just create a list, right? Everything you do. You're going to open up your favorite, this clicker does not like me. You're going to open up, all right, let's see, your favorite AI tool. And you are going to give it a prompt and you are going to give it your task list also. Okay, I'm going to give you the prompt right now. Hopefully. Let's see. Okay. I promise I'm going to get this going. Oh, all right. I'm going to get this. Let's do it old school. There you go. That's the prompt. And what you're going to do is you're going to replace the tool names. You see what it says, I use AI tool names. You're going to put your tool names there. And then after the colon, after what it says, here are my tasks, you're going to enter your task list. Okay. And what AI is going to help you do with this is it's going to give you a pretty little chart of your AI's use cases in your workflow. Let me show you. Okay, I'm going to give you a few seconds to take a picture. Are we good? I'm giving up on the clicker. Okay, so what it's going to do is going to give you a chart. This isn't my full chart because it goes that there's more to it. But what it's going to give you is going to give you a list of your tasks broken down into task subtasks, right? And it's going to prioritize those tasks for you. And then it's going to tell you what you can share with AI, what you can automate. So what you can automate, what you can share with AI and from AI. And it's going to give you a rationale as to why you can do those things. And it'll give you some recommendations for quick wins, for things you can do very quickly with the share and automate. So does this surprise you from my little list right here that I have here? There, that surprises you on the keep? Anything that is automate or share are use cases for AI in your workflow. And what you're doing here is you're creating an SOP for yourself. One, where you're documenting all the work you do. You can share that with your leaders because I'm sure that many of you are doing the job of 5 people, right? So having that full task list helps you. Having this subtask broken down, because a lot of times people don't know what's going into that subtask, right? And you may have to go in and look at, edit the subtask and tell AI to run it again. If you do more than what AI comes up with, you can tell it to give you a detailed subtask list. But you can use this for performance reviews also, right? So anytime anyone asks you, what do you do at your job? This is everything you do at your job. We tend to gloss over what we do, right? Because we feel that it's too much for people to understand. But I'm going to tell you, this is how you keep your job secure. because your leaders think that they can automate everything you can do, that you do. And they cannot automate you. So here you have proof of the things that can be automated, the things that can be shared with AI and not given to AI completely, and the things that really need to be kept human. Okay? All right. I said I was going to give up on the clicker. I really am going to give up on the clicker. Okay, so this is what I want you to know, though. The ask framework doesn't protect your job. What it does, it elevates your judgment, and it helps you to also shine a light on all of the value that you bring to the organization. Okay? Because a lot of us do things in hiding, and you do a lot of things, but people don't tend to know all the things that you do, right, in your job. So this is to help you establish how AI fits into your workflow, when it's appropriate to use AI, when it's appropriate to automate something, when it's appropriate to share something, and what's not appropriate to share, and why, the reasons why, right? Okay, so now this is the second thing, the second gift I'm going to give you. So what I want you to do is we're going to build a second brain for ourselves. How many of you have heard the concept of second brain? Okay, a few of you. So second brain is basically a brain dump. So you, what I'm going to have you do is I want you, so you did your ask framework, right? For your second brain, what I want you to do is I want you to take all of the tribal knowledge that you have in your brain, and we are going to document it. There's tons of voice to text apps that you can use. I use Google Eloquence. I love it. I think they released it for Android. It's on iPhone. So if you have an iPhone, you can use it. It's funny that Google released an app for iPhone and not for Android. But so Google Eloquence is a good one. You can open it. You just start dictating to yourself. You don't have to sit there for hours trying to do a brain dump. Do a raw brain dump into Google Eloquence. All right. So let me walk you through the steps. There's 4 steps. So we're going to use Copilot. How many of you are using Microsoft Office? Okay. So for this, I'm going to tell you to use Copilot. And here's the reason why. Because Copilot lives in your environment, in the environment that you're already working in. You should use the AI that you have access to. If you're going to, don't ask me which is the better AI tool, because I will tell you none of them, right? The AI tool that you have access to is the best tool. I'm going to tell you that. So what you're going to do is you're going to build AI notebooks in Copilot. If you go to all apps, you'll see notebooks in there. It is a ripoff of Google Notebooks, Notebook LM, which I love. So you can do this in Notebook LM also, but Notebook LM is not embedded in your environment unless it is part of your Google Workspace environment. So we're going to do this in Copilot. So you're going to take all of your tribal knowledge, you're going to dictate it, you're going to put it into, export it as a doc, as a text file, and you're going to upload a text file, not a Word doc, please. You're going to export it as just a raw text file. It does not need to be perfect. You're not going to clean it up. Export it as a raw text file. You're going to add it into the custom instruction of the notebook. And then you're going to upload documents that you've created yourself, not with AI. So if you've created any kind of analysis, types of PowerPoints that you've created, any kind of documentation that you have on your job, the ask framework, that you can upload that, also spit it out, have it up there. And what you're doing is you're going to create this second brain. And what it does, it allows you to stop starting from zero. So next, you're going to teach it good. You're going to feed it standards. So now that we have, wow, I didn't know karaoke was now. So what you're going to do is you're going to start uploading your standards. So any kind of standards that are used in your organization. Hadia, I think your laptop's possessed. You're going to start uploading the standards that you use, right? You're going to start uploading your scar tissue also. All right, I'm going to close this. Hopefully it'll stop. So you're going to upload examples also, and I call it scar tissue. It's singing to me. You're going to upload your scar tissue. So scar tissue are the things that the mistakes you've made, right? And so Stevie Wonder really wants to sing to me. I got it. It became aware. If Stevie Wonder's trying to sing to me. Okay. I think it's the AI that's following me. The AI is trying to serenade me right now. So, yeah. Okay. So what you're going to do, I want you to upload your scar tissue of your past mistakes. So things that's things that you're going to actually talk about and you're going to put into a document. Like, these are the things that I really screwed up in the training that I've made, in like lessons learned. I call it scar tissue. It's really lessons learned, but we carry that like a deep wound. Sometimes I know I have 1,000 tiny wounds from all the mistakes I've made in my career, right? So those tiny wounds though are lessons learned. Those are super valuable, because guess what? AI doesn't know that. AI doesn't have tiny little scars. It doesn't have wounds. It doesn't know your wounds. It doesn't know the things you've learned, right? So you want to give it your 1,000 tiny wounds. For me, it's like 1,000,000, I think, right? I say 1,000, but for me, I have a lot of them. So you want to upload the good stuff and also like your things you've learned. That is tribal knowledge. That is pure to you. So you're going to upload that as a document. And then you're going to, step 3 is going to be like, get some order in there, right? Just make sure that you have it all. You're going to review it. You're going to make sure that you're uploading the content. And then step 4 is, if you want to make, put a tickler on your, who says tickler anymore? I always say tickler. Put a tickler in your calendar. I just aged myself. Tickle yourself on your calendar to remind yourself to check your AI brain and update it once a month. Okay, because we always have like either a new lesson learned, or maybe something became obsolete, or maybe you learned something new, right? You want to add that to your AI brain. So now, instead of opening up a chat session, right, and starting with a blank screen where you have to tell it like, help me create a PowerPoint, because I hate making PowerPoint for this session, right? You now have a full brain where you can go in there and it's going to be content aware and context aware. So now your AI has full context. And I like to do it in notebooks and not in the personalization settings, because you can update this and it becomes also a repository of your knowledge. Your personalization settings will only allow you to update, I think it's like 25 documents. In your notebooks, I think it's like 300. So you're now creating a repository of your knowledge, and this becomes your second brain. So now, if you're like, hey, I remember I like did this before, but I don't remember what it was, you can ask your second brain, hey, do you remember when I did XYZ? I created training for, I don't know, Chevron Texaco, and it was really bad. Tell me about that. Refresh my memory, right? And it's going to go into your personal content. It's not going to go out into the ether and find something generic. It is now part of your brain, right? So this is where you operationalize AI, because now this AI, you can actually, because it's a Copilot, you can have Copilot reference this and you can kick off triggers, right? You can kick off triggers where it will update based on documents that you upload in a specific folder, update based on specific events. So now the AI is operationalized, but it is going through the context that you have given it in order for it to give you better outputs. Okay. The reason I love Google Notebook LM is because It does not go out into the internet unless I ask it to. It will only search my content. It is based on me. Copilot Notebooks does the same thing. Okay, so we're going to create a second brain. How many of you are going to try this? I want a show of hands. How many of you are going to try this? Okay, good. Use the tools you have. And even if you just, and you can create multiple notebooks. Don't feel like you have to dump it all in one notebook. You can create one for like creating e-learning, one for, you could do the whole Addy. You could do like analysis, design, development, you know what I mean? Implementation, evaluation. You can do it for, we have an essay here from KP. You can do it with the KP model for measurable, figuring out your metrics, right? This is how I always do metrics. You could do one for quizzes. This is what a good assessment looks like. This is what a bad assessment looks like. Because how many of us have written bad assessments and pushed it that way? How many of you have written an assessment where the answer has been option C, disregard all regulations? I hear laughing. I know you shipped that, right? Because it's just easy. We're just giving people the answer, right? So we want to create good assessments also. So this can actually help us. So if you can create these notebooks that are, use it as part of your second brain. And order matters in it. How you organize it matters. But you should organize it based on how you think and how you process information. All right. And then the triggers, which is step 5. I already shared that with you. So I'm going to go and show you. So this is what it would look like. This is in Copilot. I'm creating a second brain here. It will take you all of 2 minutes. Or it takes you longer to organize your documents and to do the dictation. So I'm just identifying the documents I want to put in there. And notice that at the bottom is just adding documents for me. You see the count going down. And there's my second brain. And I'm going to go into the top here, I believe. Yep. And I'm going to add my dictation. And now every time I interact with this notebook, it's going to reference those documents I put up and based on the instructions that I gave it. Super easy. Took me 2 minutes to do it, to actually create it. It takes longer to gather your thoughts. Okay. And you'll do this with the different notebooks that you create. Okay. So this is something that I want to leave you with. Technology will inevitably, big word, change, but your judgment, your experiences, and your scar tissue are your ultimate assets. You are the biggest asset your organization has, especially when they're trying to upskill a ton of people in AI. So your job is to upskill and reskill yourself. I will share with you that I have my own company. I have a consulting company. I work mainly with government. I specialize in pharma, aerospace, and military. I work with the military a lot. And we're doing, like Hadia mentioned, I've been working with NASA for AI in deep space and Mars communication, working with foreign governments on deep space. Also, there's a lot of deep space movement going on. There's a space race going on with AI going up. And I can tell you that all of the rocket scientists that I've met with, all of the engineers who I've met with that are super smart, that are doing this work, they are in the same place you are when it comes to AI. They're like, we got to figure this out. We are being asked to do this thing. We need to change the way we do things. We need to innovate, but we don't know where to start. So everyone is in the same spot, including rocket scientists. They're trying to figure it out. So you are not obsolete. What you need to do is you need to figure out how do you turn that 77% upskilling and reskilling into an opportunity for yourself. Whether you're unemployed or you're at your organization, what does that mean for you? Okay. So this is the last thing I want you to do during conference. I want you to create this 30, 60, 90-day plan for yourself. And for every session that you go to, I want you to write one line that says, what are you going to do the next 30 days with what you learned? What are you going to do in the next 60 days with what you learned? And what are you going to do in the next 90 days? Okay? I want you to do this for every session you go to. The lessons that you learn, I want you to jot it down. And then you all received a little tag. This is an NFC tag. Okay? This here, you program it using NFC tools in your phone. Super easy to program, but what you're going to do is I want you to create a portfolio based on this 30, 60, 90 day, and then I want you to program it onto this tag. Because guess what? Resumes are dead. Portfolios are winning. Okay? So the person with the best portfolio wins, and if you can take away some documentation, your second brain, you can have a link to your second brain on this. You can have a link to a portfolio on this. This can be programmed and reprogrammed. This here is your tool into the future. Keep it on your keychain. You can put your business card on here with a link to a website that leads them to your portfolio. Okay. LinkedIn is also, people are looking at your LinkedIn, but they're looking at your LinkedIn to see if you have a portfolio that they can go to. Okay. So you want to make sure that you carry this with you. So next time someone asks you what you do, and they ask you, you're going to exchange information, you'll just tap this on their phone, boop, and they'll have all your information, okay, once you program it. Again, you're going to use NFC tools for this to program it. All right, so I want you to remember you're not obsolete. You are in transition. No one's obsolete. You are just in transition, all right? And that just means that you are going to continue to learn. You're going to continue to grow. So now what I want you to do is, if you can scan this QR code, I have some goodies there for you. And if you can leave some feedback, that I'll share with Hadia also, just on how I can improve this talk for you, if there's anything else that you would like to receive. But there's a download that you get. You won't get any emails from me. Don't worry about that. You're not joining an email list. This is just, we do a count on sessions, and I do this for my own records for when I speak, when I keynote, so I know how many people were in the session, and then I share it with the conference organizers so they can see what you thought about the keynote also, but you also get the goodies. And I know there's some surveys inside of the app also. So go ahead. Did everyone get a chance to scan? Okay. So I want to, Hadia, do we have a minute for a few Q&A? Okay. Let's do some Q&A. So I'm here. Take advantage. Let's answer your questions. Okay, in the pink over here. Yes. Yes. So you're not creating an agent. So let me clarify that. I'm sorry. She wants to know, when I was going through my notebook, how is that different than creating an agent? Okay. When you are using Copilot or ChatGPT, you're not creating agents. That's not an agent. You're creating an assistant that can do one thread, right? So when you do it, you're like, you are a proposal writer. So the only thing it will do is write proposals. You're not giving it a brain dump, right? Your second brain is going to have the information about your knowledge, and it's going to grow with you. So that's what the purpose of the second brain is, because you can replace that knowledge. You can update the knowledge. With an AI assistant, you are having to blow it up, restart again. And you are not creating agents. I just want to clarify that. No one in this room is creating an agent. Agents are complex to create. You are using agents, but you're not using agentic AI, which is a whole nother ballpark. Okay, so does that help? Yes. There was another one over here before I go to you. Who had their hand up? Was it you? Yes. Oh. Okay. So the question is, how do you put out a portfolio if you have non-disclosures or your employer doesn't allow you to upload some content? There's this thing called redaction, so you can redact things out of it. And what you can do is you can take something that you've created. You don't have to put the whole thing out there. Put a portion of it. Just recreate it, redact anything that isn't supposed to be out there, and you put it into your portfolio. We're not asking you to put out like a full like course. No one wants to sit through your course. And no one wants to sit through your course, trust me. So I hope that answers your question. There's a question back here. Does that, and then keep your hands raised. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is a good question. When you're creating your second brain, if you're new and you don't have that tribal knowledge, bless you, how do you develop that tribal knowledge, right? And how do you ensure that your junior people develop that tribal knowledge also, right? Instead of using AI as a crutch? And how do you stop the cycle of the snake eating its tail where you're uploading AI generated content? So I'm going to tell you, you're not uploading AI generated content. That's the point of dictating, right? Of dictating, you're doing a brain dump. That's why I call it a second brain. You're doing a brain dump. The way to get your junior people to start developing that tribal knowledge is through mentorship. I think that we undervalue mentorship and coaching, and we need to have mentorship and coaching for new employees in L&D. Because someone, when you were new to the job, someone sat with you, someone guided you. Maybe they weren't there holding your hand, but you probably went to meetings. And when you were creating a training, they were probably telling you, like, creating this training because the VP went to a conference. That's tribal knowledge. I hear giggles, you know that's right? That's true. So that's how you develop tribal knowledge, just through this guidance and mentorship where you're sharing, like, hey, this is how you don't do this, right? Maybe we just do this because of X, right? And they'll challenge it. That's how you're helping them to develop that tribal knowledge. And when you're creating your second brain, you're not uploading AI generated anything. You want to upload things that you have created yourself. So I hope that helps answers your question. Okay. One last question, anyone? Did I see a hand over here? I thought I saw a hand missing. Yes. Copilot. I would not put it in ChatGPT. No. Yes. I would not put it in ChatGPT. So one thing I want you to do is read your terms of service. When you are using Microsoft Office within your enterprise, you're on an enterprise license, which is locked down. Even if you and if you're using ChatGPT, you are doing retrieval or retrieval augmented generation, which is you're training the AI, and other people are training that same AI. It's not your second brain. Notebook LM is closed, so it's only for you, and it's only based on the content that you upload. Okay, last one. Claude, so these are different. So Claude Project is not the same. Claude Project, you're putting documents in based on a project that you created. It doesn't create a second brain for you. So let me just tell you why I'm telling you to use Copilot. Copilot is embedded in your environment. Are you Google? Then use Notebook LM. Use Notebook LM if you're a Google shop, because you want that information contained, right? You want that to be in your ecosystem. You can use projects for all your other stuff, but when your second brain is something that you can reference that isn't muddied with all the work you're doing. This is like we're dumping tribal knowledge into it, right? Because your second brain can be shared. Let's say you're training someone, you can share that second brain with someone else. And so they can pick your brain all day, all night. Think about it, right? Great for onboarding with the scene. You're coaching someone else without having to coach them. Yeah, because the generation coming in, there's an expectation that AI is being used. And this is the perfect way for an organization to get people upskilled very quickly without having to, you're already burdened with probably 50 projects. And they're like, hey, can you mentor this? We have a new hire. You want to be their buddy, right? And you're like, when am I going to like help this person, right? So, lunch, let's do lunch, right? Or let's take a coffee break. But now you can share your second brain with them and they can start to gain some of your tribal knowledge. Because I think that's lost in a lot of organizations right now, that tribal knowledge. So, all right. I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. And Hadia, I will pass it back to you. Thank you so much, everyone.